Welcome everybody back to the next installment in this series, this 2D C++ game development series. Just a recap of what we've done so far. We have planned out where we'd like our game to go. We have created a room class to be the object in which we will store the data of the room and everything in the room in that data class. We are using a model view controller type pattern in to keep the game running efficiently as much as we can. This is a beginner course. This is a beginner tutorial series. I am not focusing directly on the language of C++ directly, but more of the game development side of it as we decide video by video of where this game is going to go. Um, as with some tutorial series, they already have a predetermined way of where they want to take you. This is going to be more user driven in the fact that the comments section below will help guide us into where this game is going to go. With that being said, if you have a comment, a suggestion, or a question, please feel free to drop it in the comment section below, and I will either answer it in the comment section or address it in the following video. Um, if you are not following the series as it is being done, then feel free to leave a comment and I will address them in the comment section or directly to you. In that sense, please feel free to like and subscribe to the channel as well, so that you get to stay up on the notifications of new videos arising. Sorry, it's been a long time since I put out the last video. I think it's been a couple weeks. I've had some other issues arise, and had to deal with them directly. But now I am back, and hopefully can make a come back to the 1 week a video once a week in the series. Um, so the episode number 5, that's what we're on currently. What we plan to do in this one is introduce SDL visuals, the graphic language, so that we can put something on the screen, create a window, do all that. And I'm going to focus on this in this video as we go to CDL. C++, a lot of people use C++, or when they use C++, they like to use OpenGL or DirectX. For Windows-based, OpenGL for multi platforms. I decided to use SDL because it is very simplistic, easy to use, and for a 2D game, that for a tutorial series, that is probably the easiest way to go. In the future, we may dabble into OpenGL, or if we find that the game that we are creating is going to be more than what SDL can provide us with, then we may have to make the change at that point. But for the time being, SDL is the way to go. So with that being said, I am going to do a quick tutorial on where you have to go to get SDL. So if you open up your browser here, and I'm using Edge for Windows 10 right now. If you open up your browser and just search SDL, you will get the simple direct media layer homepage, and this is what you want where to go. This will give you the download that you want to download, and also um, the wiki, which will provide you with support on how to establish connection with SDL, how to make windows, how to draw on the window, how to control your keyboard and mouse vents, all that fun stuff that we're going to use in this game and that every game is going to need to know, because with the exception of text-based games, all games are visual and graphical on screen, and I'm pretty sure that's why you're here, is because you want to create a game that is going to be um, visual. So let's go to the SDL homepage. In here you will find the download section. Download the latest version, that's the 2.0. You will go down to the development libraries and you will download the one for Visual C++. If you just click on that, did I click? You click on it and you would like to save it somewhere on your computer. We are going to save it just to the downloads folder. We'll save it there, and once it's finished downloading, then we can move to the installing, which it's finished. Let's open the folder. Alright, once it's finished downloading, it's downloaded into the directory of your choice. It is right here. It is a zip file, so you would need to unzip it with whatever zipping software that you have. I'm going to extract it here, and there it is. I will just rename it for simplicity, just to SDL2. Alright, so what we want to do to make it easier for us is we want to open up the folder that we have created the file, our project file in. So for my instance, it is here in development, and under project 1. You don't go further into this, you just go to where the solution is, and we will create a new folder here, and this is where we'll store it. So let's create a folder of depend. This will be our dependencies folder, and then we can stick it in here. Let's just drag it over. Boom. Perfect. And that's all we need to do for that. That will contain everything that we need. So let's not use that for now. We'll close that down. Let's go back into let's go back to our Visual Studio. Once we're in Visual Studio, open up the Solutions Explorer if it's not open already, and right click on your project. When you right click on it, at the very bottom there is a Properties button. Hit the Properties menu there, and that will open up this screen here. Things that you want to make sure that you change before you decide to add SDL is in the configuration. You will want to have it on all configurations. Sometimes it will just be on the active debug, it will just be on debug, or just on release, but make sure it's on all configurations. And the platform that you're using, and we've been running it in the x86 here, so that we can just keep as the Win32. If you do decide to use the 64-bit, you would want to choose that. But then when choosing that, you have to make sure that SDL, that you choose the 64-bit libraries for that. So for us, we're just going to leave it as what it is, the active Win32. Now, down the side here, there's a couple sections that we are going to want to configure. One is that we need to tell the linker that it's going to use this library. So under linker, we are under the additional library directories. This is where we want to tell Visual Studio that we have an additional library to use. So click on the space just after it, and there's a little drop down. Hit the drop down and then the edit button. Once you hit the edit button, it brings open this window here where you can now select the folder that contains your libraries. So hit the new line, and that will bring you into your solutions folder. You want to back out of it once, so you want to hit the project folder where you have the depend. Then you can traverse down the line to go to your library section, and then this is where I was talking about before, where you could have the 64-bit or the 32-bit. So remember, if you choose the 64-bit, you have to choose the 64-bit library. In our case, we are only doing the 32-bit, so we are going to remain with the x86. So select that folder. That puts it into the folder. The only problem with this is if you decide to move your folder from one drive to another drive, or from one folder to another folder, it is going to remember this line that it's under. Wherever you put it, that's what it's going to remember, and we don't want that. We want to be able to search the solution directory every time. Alright, so an easy way to do it is to select the highlighted line right here. You want to, just before the word depend, if you're following along with the video, if you named it something else, just before that word, take out everything, including the backslash. And what you're going to do is you're going to put in a $sign and an open close parentheses. In between the parentheses, you are going to type in the word solution directory, capital S, capital D. And if you click outside of what you typed, and it stays the same, then you know you did it right. If it changes, then you might have misspelled something. So let's click out of it. Click out of it. Click. And everything stayed the same, so it is correct. Now, when you move the folder, you should it should be it should follow with you. So, what makes it good is if you go to my GitHub and you download the files for this project, for this episode number 5. If you download that, you will get the SDL with it, and everything should be configured correctly to use this. If not, then you'll have to go in and modify some of these directories. Where I pulled this from is this little macros button here. Opens up all the macros, and you can see. So if I were to type in solution and scroll down here, this is the macro that I put in there, and it tells you exactly what it would spit out if you type that in there, and that's how we know it. So moving on from that, we need to also let C++ know that there is an include directory. So we do the exact same thing. Down, edit, it opens up the include. We add the new line. We search for it. It opens up here. We go back one. We go depend, SDL. In this case, instead of the library one, we're going to use the include one, and then hit select folder, and then that's what that would be. We are also going to change this to match what we did last time and put the solutions directory in here. So solution directory. Click out of it. Nothing should change. Let's save that. There is another spot here that we'd also want to modify, just to make sure that, is it under the linkers, the input? Oh yes, so under linker, under input, we need to, this is where we have to put in the files that we want the linker to depend on. So if we click here and the arrow down and hit edit, this brings up the window. There are 2 files. So if we go into our SDL 32 folder, and we go into the include, no, not sorry, not include, the library file. We go into the library for the 32, and there are two library files here. There's actually three, but we only need the two. We need the SDL2.library and the SDL2 main.library. So we're going to put that in here. So SDL2.lib and SDL2 main.lib. Make sure the spelling is correct. Hit OK, and that is safe right there. That should be about it. There is one final thing that we have to do, is that we have to take this DLL file. So if you right click it and copy, we need to go back to our program folder, and this time we have to go inside the actual program or the project folder. So this is where we're going to find all our source files. In here is where you'll want to copy and you'll want to paste that DLL file. Once you do that, you should be good to go. Let's apply the changes. Let's hit OK. And now that we are in, if we go back to our launcher, we can now include and we're going to use the angled brackets because we're telling it that it's a part of a dependency library, a part of what Visual Studio uses, and we put in here SDL.h, this one right here. The red squiggly line should disappear, and if that disappears, then you know you've set everything up correctly. Now, in the beginning, I said that when I believe it was episode 1, when we did the int main, or maybe it was episode 2, we did this main function, and we put int argc char star argv. SDL needs this. If you do not put this in here, SDL will not function properly, and the first time you use SDL and you don't do that, you will learn quickly, or it will take you a while to figure out why doesn't it work. And after much headaches and frustration, I found out that it was because I never put the int argc or the char star argv. So that is a tip that I do want to share for anybody who's working with SDL. This is one of those libraries that do require it to be in there to work. So that's the end of this video. That is how you include the SDL library. In our next video, I will show how you initialize SDL, how we are going to initialize SDL, and then that's it. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment down below, let me know if I'm doing okay or doing poorly, and stick around for the next video. Thanks very much.